Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Paddock. It is the weekend. It is May the 9th. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. I have a story that Johnny picked out, a Paddington in London. And this of course is Paddington Bear. I know Frankie and Johnny both love Paddington Bear. They've seen the movie and all of the little stories and all that so many times. So I hope you love it. My adventure begins when I traveled from Lima, the capital of Peru, in a giant ship. I hid out of sight for my entire journey. My Aunt Lucy sent me off with lots of jars of marmalade so I wouldn't go hungry. After many days, the ship docked in London, England. So here we have it, that's England. I hid in a mail sack and was unloaded off the ship. I couldn't see where I was going, but I think the mail sack was put onto a train because I ended up at Paddington Station in London. When I arrived there, I tried to find someone who would give me a home. I had almost given up hope when I met the Browns. Mrs. Brown named me Paddington after the station. Paddington is a famous station. I'm proud to share its name. So this is Paddington Station in London, England. The Browns took me around London. One of Mr. Brown's favorite places is Serpentine. It's a lake in the middle of Hyde Park. Mr. Brown comes here to swim. He says that swimming club here is the oldest swimming club in Britain. They hold a famous race on Christmas Day, and all the swimmers wear only their bathing suits, no matter how cold the water is. I don't like the sound of that very much. Since arriving in England, I prefer to stay on dry ground if I can help it. Mrs. Brown introduces me to Mr. Gruber. He owns an antique shop full of fascinating things on Portobello Road. It's a street where plenty of hustle and bustle, especially on Saturdays when market traders set up their stalls. I like to visit Mr. Gruber from my 11s. We share cocoa and buns, and he tells me wonderful stories. He immigrated to England when he was young, just like me. And Mr. Gruber, of course, loves trains, right? Something I was fascinated to learn when I arrived in London is that England has a queen. Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, lives in an enormous house. Her home is called Buckingham Palace. Mr. Gruber promised to take me there one day to see the changing of the guard. When I lived in Peru, I dreamed of coming to London. Aunt Lucy and Uncle Pastus had once met an explorer from London, and he taught them about his culture. They, in turn, taught me. But when I arrived and discovered that Big Ben wasn't really a person, but a bell inside the clock tower, I was really surprised. So this is Big Ben. It's the bell inside of this tower here. It is still an impressive sight, though. The building itself is called the Elizabeth Tower. I'm told that not many Londoners even know that. And this, of course, is the House of Parliament here. So a lot of the laws and government takes place here. So Elizabeth Tower, the bell inside is actually called Big Ben, okay? There is a place in London called the Geographers Guild. It's a very famous old society where explorers gather to share their research. I thought it would be a good place to find out about the explorer who knew my uncle and aunt. It's a magnificent center of learning, but I discovered that they don't take too kindly to strangers. Mr. Brown had to dress up in disguise while I hid in a cart. Another center of learning is the Natural History Museum. This magnificent building is packed to the rafters with fossils and plants and dinosaur bones. It also houses an enormous collection of exotic animals that have been stuffed and put on display. Millie is the director of the taxidermy and is responsible for finding new specimens. She's not actually a nice person in the movie. The quickest way to travel to all of these places is on the London Underground. But it isn't always easy when you're a bear. I have to be careful I don't get my fur caught on the escalators, and I'm not quite tall enough to reach the ticket barrier. London is a fascinating place. It's very different from the darkest Peru, but I think I shall enjoy living here with his marmalade sandwiches, right? So there you have it. That was a little bit of London, a little sneak peek into London. If you've ever been to London, you know it's an amazing place. I've been there a few times and it is one of my most favorite places to go and visit. If you've never been, maybe you can add it to your list of places to go because it is amazing. Maybe you can even meet the Queen when you're there. Love you all and miss you and hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.